only get away with that because the girl of 6 years plays along. So Vivian's been with me 6 years. She's completely head over heels in love with me. She wants kids with me.
What the lover boy method is. They say, this is how you do it. If you want a girl to fall in love with you so that you could traffic her, buy my course and I'll teach you how.
Like they have been in Florida. They're not going to be co-hosting bare knuckles fighting competitions. They're going to be in a cell while they wait.
Look, things are getting real dark real fast for Andrew and Tristan Tate. They just got snatched up in Miami by U.S. Marshals. And right now, the UK is pushing hard to get them extradited. According to reports, we're talking about 59 total charges coming out of Britain. Online commentators are looking at this and saying, if they actually end up on that plane back to the UK, they could be looking at serious time behind bars. But here's where it gets messy. One of the main reasons the internet is flipping out is because the charges allegedly involve inappropriate material of a minor. And right on cue, an old clip just resurfaced that has everybody talking. In this video, Tate is allegedly talking about a young girl doing webcam work for him. Now, nothing in the clip is officially verified yet, but social media is ripping it apart.
I only get away with that because the girl of 6 years plays along. So Vivian's been with me 6 years. She's completely head over heels in love with me. She wants kids with me, everything. When I bring on new girls, I usually pair them with Vivian. Because Vivian's younger. Melissa's like 28. Vivian's like 21. Oh, 6 years plays along. Vivian's like 21. Oh, 6 years plays along.
If you couldn't catch all that, let me break it down. Basically, in that clip, he claims this girl, Vivian, had been doing webcam work for him for 6 years. But he also says she's 21 right now. People on Twitter did the math, and they're pointing out that if those numbers are accurate, it suggests she started way before she was legally allowed to. That is exactly why the timeline is raising so many red flags. The internet is looking at to make matters worse. A legal expert just jumped on Piers Morgan's show and broke down exactly what the Tate brothers are facing. They talked about the odds of them fighting the extradition and shut down the rumors that politicians might step in to save them. Judging by how the public is reacting, the walls look like they're closing in.
Indeed, for joining me. How significant are these arrests of Andrew and Tristan Tate on United States soil, especially given the fact there is an extradition treaty, obviously, with the UK, and the belief is the UK are pushing to have them brought to the UK for justice?
Piers, good to be with you. It's very significant. We're talking about 59 total charges now, relating to 7 alleged victims for offenses that span between 2010 and 2017. You have the 21 original charges, and now you have 38 new charges. And so you have 3 alleged victims in the first round of charges, and now an additional 4 victims here. And I know that there's talk on the internet that somehow the Trump administration and allies are going to somehow block the extradition. But since the extradition treaty has been signed between the UK and the US, only 1 case has ever even been held up for extradition. This is a matter of course where people accused of serious crimes, and this is a serious crime, and when there is at least probable cause that there's enough evidence to justify the arrest, that those people are sent back. It may take a while, it may take a year, it may take 2 years, but these brothers, I believe, will be sent back to the UK and they will face justice.
Now look, the UK authorities moved super strategic on this one. For the longest time, a lot of his fan base tried to defend the whole webcam business. Back in 2024, when the first round of charges hit, people were saying, okay, it sounds like he was just acting like a pimp. And to a lot of his supporters, that wasn't enough to write him off. They looked at the so-called lover boy method, where he allegedly convinced women to do webcam work and take the money and brushed it off as just internet hustle. But when the UK reportedly slapped on these new charges, adding allegations tied to young people and inappropriate material, the whole conversation changed overnight. You can't just laugh that off on a podcast. That's why that Vivian clip is going viral right now. Once you start dealing with those kinds of accusations, it's a whole different ballgame. People are realizing that if you stand by him now, you're putting your own reputation on the chopping block before the trial even starts. Nobody wants to hold that bag if the allegations turn out to be true. That's why so many loud defenders have suddenly gone quiet. Even Sneeko, who was riding hard for Tate a couple of years ago, has fully switched sides. They've had their beef recently, sure, but listen to how different Sneeko sounds talking about him now.
Culture, the fall off is crazy.
See, it's not Me Too feminist culture. It's the fact that they're actually guilty. And I looked through, well, apparently, according to them, I don't know, allegedly they're guilty. allegedly. At the time, I did believe it. I believe that they were innocent, but you look into it more, and you look into what the lover boy method is, and you look into what that is. They literally said that they were recruiting women to pimp them out. They had a course talking about how you could become a pimp. Word for word, they just spell out exactly what the lover boy method is. They say, this is how you do it. If you want a girl to fall in love with you so that you could traffic her, buy my course and I'll teach you how. So first you make her fall in love with you. You have her, then you program her, then you take her passport, then she's in love with you, then you put her on OnlyFans. It's like, that's what the lover boy method is, word for word. That's what pimping is, allegedly. I don't know what I'm talking about, allegedly. To a T, that's exactly what pimping is, and they just did it online. And they did it in Europe with white women. Look at that too. You know what's so funny is that the Tates that are grifting the white supremacists, like the white incels, the skin worshippers, they literally got rich pimping out European white women because they were better for money. Like, they made more money. Do you think that they were pimping out Asian girls and black girls? No, they moved to Romania because the crimes, they thought they were going to get away with it. They said, Romania's the third world country. I could be a mob boss. I'm a mafia. I could bribe the police.
Like I said, Sneeko and Tate have been bumping heads lately, so you gotta take his rant with a grain of salt. But it shows just how fast the tide is turning. Back in the day, Sneeko was one of his biggest defenders. Now, he's laying it all out. And honestly, Sneeko made a point about the political side of this that a lot of people agree with. There was this huge rumor going around that Andrew Tate was cool with the Trump family, Don Jr., Barron, and that they actually helped him bounce from Romania straight to the US without getting stopped. But if you think Donald Trump is about to touch this case now, you're bugging. Think about the PR nightmare. Critics already try to tie Trump to Epstein every chance they get. You really think he's going to step in to block an extradition for a case that involves allegations with young people? Fans believe Tate put all his chips on a political connect that was never going to hold weight when the pressure hit. Some people are saying it's ironic he thought he had top-tier backup, but now he's basically left out to dry.
Delay in the United States because the brothers are going to be able to try to fight extradition. It's a loser. They're not going to stop the extradition, but they can go from judge to appellate court, even to the U.S. Supreme Court. They can fight it all the way. But here's the bright spot for those of us who want justice, is that as they appeal, they are most likely going to be held in a detention facility, in a jail. They're not going to be out there living the high life like they have been in Florida. They're not going to be co-hosting bare knuckles fighting competitions. They're going to be in a cell while they wait.
There was a statement from Joseph McBride, who's the lawyer representing both brothers last night. The United Kingdom, a corrupted, fallen nation that jails its own citizens for tweets while ignoring gangs, had found too inconvenient to prosecute, conjured up a wave of charges against the Tate brothers. This is not law enforcement. This is a political hit ordered by dying empire that fears two free men with a microphone more than it fears actual criminals walking its streets. And their case has been taken up by a lot of people online, including Nick Fuentes, who tweeted, "Free Andrew and Tristan Tate. It would be a national humiliation." He said the United States to allow the UK to extradite them to American citizens over trumped-up MITO charges. The same country that persecutes white people for speech while importing rapist migrants. So you can see the way the political wind is blowing here in certain quarters. The Trumps have historically been, reasonably friendly in terms of their view of the tapes. Does this change that?
Through the appeals.
There was a statement from Joseph McBride, who's the lawyer representing both brothers. Last night, the United Kingdom, a corrupt and fallen nation that jails its own citizens for tweets while ignoring gangs it found too inconvenient to prosecute, conjured up a wave of charges against the Tate brothers. This is not law enforcement. This is a political hit ordered by a dying empire that fears two free men with a microphone more than it fears actual criminals walking its streets. And their case has been taken up by a lot of people online, including Nick Fuentes, who tweeted, "Free Andrew and Tristan Tate. It would be a national humiliation," he said, the United States to allow the UK to extradite them to American citizens over trumped-up Me Too charges. The same country that persecutes white people for speech while importing rapist migrants. So you can see the way the political wind is blowing here in certain quarters. The Trumps have historically been reasonably friendly in terms of their view of the Tates. Does this change that?
Let's keep it a buck. There is zero chance Marco Rubio or J.D. Vance are going to stick their necks out for this. Both of those guys are playing the long game for the White House. J.D. Vance is doing the podcast run, hitting all the major shows, and Rubio is actively working the media to keep his name completely clean. The internet is saying that nobody with real political ambition is going to risk their future for Andrew Tate right now. Imagine it's 2 years from now. You're on a debate stage, and they ask you why you helped block extradition for a guy with 59 charges, including serious exploitation allegations. You can't survive that. That's why this story is so crazy. It's not just about Tate anymore. It's a game of self-preservation. When things get this toxic, loyalty goes out the window fast. Honestly, if I'm Andrew Tate, I would have just stayed in Dubai. Think about it. He allegedly had the money he claimed he was worth $1 billion, making $10 million a month off Hustlers University. If those numbers are even close to real, he could have sat in the Middle East untouchable, living like royalty where extradition is barely a thing. But instead, he flew into Miami, and according to reports, the second he landed, the state of Florida was already looking into him because they didn't want him there either. I really don't understand why he would put himself in that trap, but the bigger question is, what do y'all think? Is Andrew Tate getting a one-way ticket to a UK cell, or do you think his legal team can pull a miracle? Let me know down in the comments. If you rock with this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.
I don't think so, Piers, because it's limited to what the Trumps can do here. So first off, what hypocrisy for these internet influencers to take the side of the Tates when they are some of the leading voices against Epstein and the so-called Epstein class. Well, how is this any different than what Epstein had done? At least the accusations are just as serious here, but yet they take up for these guys. I don't know the difference other than I guess they identify Andrew Tate with themselves and the MAGA movement. But even if Trump wanted to do something here, the court system is independent. The only thing that the Trump administration could do if they wanted to is that at the very end, when the courts have ruled and they're about to sign off on sending them back to the UK, the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, could block it because he could say that this is a political prosecution, and that would violate Article 4 of the treaty between the US and the UK. But that is almost never the case. I mean, that has happened once to a diplomat, not someone like this. And does the Trump administration really want to be on the side of these notorious manosphere, misogynist, pro-terrorist individuals? I don't think so. And remember, even in the MAGA movement, there's a split when it comes to the Tates, because Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, and his attorney general have been trying to get them arrested in Florida.